Hello, nerds. We missed a day, but this is gaming on Generally Nerdy, your week at Nerdom. Week of April 30th, which is also the first week of May. You're getting a twofer today, so let's hit an intro real quick.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
This is gaming, and we're talking about the PlayStation 5. The Taiwan company that makes the semiconductors or the superconductors, whatever, the processor chips in the system, has gone into production on making those processor chips. So when we were talking about the potential of seeing a PlayStation 5 this year a few weeks ago, and then it was super duper rumor, it looks like the rumor might be coming to fruition, but it's not set in stone. There are other things that are going to use this chip, so there's no reason to say 100% that we're going to be seeing a PS5 this year, but it could very well be in the cards. So keep your eyes open. As soon as we hear anything from Sony, we're definitely going to be talking about it right here on your Week in Nerddom. But we have no confirmation, so we're kicking on to the next bit of news, which is Alienware. And this is actually not a hardware bit. This is more just meta kind of nerd stuff to do with gaming. Alienware did a study called The State of Gaming. Link to the information is in the description. And it dispels basically every gamer stereotype. We're not all guys. Actually, it's a pretty close to 50-50 split. They're not the guys that are gamers aren't all single guys, aren't all basement dweller, still living with their parents. Every stereotype that you think of when you think of the term gamer, because you've been programmed as such by our wonderful media organizations, is untrue, is absolutely untrue. There are some that still fit some or all of those stereotypes, absolutely. Stereotypes exist for a reason, but it seems now we have actual evidence to the contrary to say, no, not all of us are losers. Matter of fact, most of us are just regular-ass people. So, hard evidence. That's the reason we're talking about this, because we all know who we are, right? It's not something that needs to be said, but now when we're presented with that stereotype, that trope of what a gamer is, we can show empirical facts that say otherwise. So, rock and roll, guys. Next on the list, we're talking about the Video Game Hall of Fame. Yes, there is such a thing as the Video Game Hall of Fame. I knew of this passively, but I didn't really take notice. But this year's alright, so a little bit of history on this, because it is a little bit more important than I kind of gave it the weight for before I saw the bit. So, the Video Game Hall of Fame started in 2015. There is a link in the description. You can see all of the games in the Hall of Fame. It's games that are like Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong, Halo is in the Hall of Fame, Legend of Zelda, Pong. Like I said, link to the description, and we're not going to go over all of them. What we are going to go over, though, are this year's inductees. They do 4 games a year, and this year's inductees are Spacewar, which is an old PC-style game. Wasn't a really big seller, but it was influential in that it created a style that has been mimicked a number of times since. So Spacewar was the first one. Final Fantasy VII is one that I feel like probably should have already been in there, but it got inducted this year. Madden Football, not just the franchise, the very, very first Madden Football, which was for the original Nintendo, if I remember correctly, and Tomb Raider. So all of those are your inductees for this year's Gaming Hall of Fame, and I feel like that's a good group to go in. I don't know a whole lot about Spacewar aside from what the articles I could find about this induction, but it created a style of PC gaming that we're all pretty familiar with. So check the link in the description. Let's talk about it. Are there games that are missing from the Hall of Fame that you want to see next year in the inductions list? You can nominate one on the website as well, which is what that link is in the description. So go ahead and nominate whatever game you want, but let's talk about it down in the comments, and maybe you can convince the rest of the world why you think your game should be inducted and theirs shouldn't. So kicking over next, we are talking about E3. We are not that far away from E3. We're literally 2 weeks out from E3. So we have confirmations, and then we have next to absolutely confirmed games. So confirmed games, this is not a complete list. There are a few more. These are just the ones that seemed... Oh no, this is a complete list. I did take the whole list. Alright, so we're going to go over the whole list of confirmed games real quick. So Adventure Time, Pirates of... I don't know what that word is because I don't watch Adventure Time. Enchiridion? Something? An Adventure Time game. From what I've seen so far, which is very little because it looks like they're trying to hold on to as much information for E3 as possible, but it looks like the cartoon, so I'm sure there's going to be very few surprises there. Another game called Anthem, I could find very, very little. Battlefield, we're going to get another Battlefield game. They haven't released the subtitle for the game, but we know what to expect from the Battlefield franchise, so we're going to get a Battlefield game. We're getting Beyond Good and Evil 2, which has been doing a lot in the way of marketing, so we've been getting kind of inundated. Like if you read IGN, they did like 3 days worth of everything you need to know about Beyond Good and Evil 2, so you can go check that out. We're not going to get into details on these. These are just interesting confirmations. And it's also interesting what hasn't been confirmed to be absolutely happening at E3, but we're going to get to that. So after Good and Evil, we're talking about... Next up is Fortnite. I don't know exactly what they could be talking about. Maybe we're going to be getting the cross-platform announcement because we know they've been working on it, but it hasn't exactly worked yet, though it kind of works. So maybe that's it. Maybe there's an expansion coming that they haven't announced yet. They're waiting till E3 to announce that. Who knows? Next is PlayStation 4 exclusive, The Last of Us Part 2. And if you liked the first one, I feel like the second one is an expansion of the same thing. No real announcements as far as new gameplay or anything like that, but that's what E3 is for, right? So, Roller Coaster Tycoon for the Switch, port of the PC, I am almost positive. Next is Serious Sam 4. I'm not a big fan of the Serious Sam games. I can't imagine this is going to be one that they spend a lot of time on the E3 floor, but it's a PC exclusive. And then the last absolute confirmation for games that are going to be announced and discussed and so on and so forth at E3 is Smash Brothers for the Switch. This one, we talked about the Nintendo Direct broadcast a month and a half ago, and so like the hype has been going for this, and they've been super tight-lipped about it. So hopefully at E3 we will get something resembling a roster for this iteration of the game. I would imagine there will be some version of a playable demo, though I can only imagine the playable characters will be ones that have been in every game. So like Mario and Yoshi and maybe Donkey Kong, something along those lines is what we're likely going to get. But I can't I can't picture it being a big event without them going through at least the majority of the roster. They're going to keep portions of the roster secret until the game comes out, just because that's the way Smash Brothers works. But yeah, it's gonna be great. I actually just played the Wii U version a few weeks back for the first time, and that is a lot of fun. So I don't have a Switch yet. We've talked about this before. We're trying to get our hands on a Switch, but money is tight, and I can't get one for free yet. So, but that's totally the first game. That's the game you have to get with your Nintendo systems anymore, right? Is whatever Zelda game comes out, the Mario Kart game, and then the Smash Brothers game. Those are the 3 must-haves, and then whatever Mario game, 4 must-haves for every Nintendo system. So, what are the likely games we're going to be seeing at E3? Obviously, Kingdom Hearts 3. They keep saying it's coming out this year, so hopefully by now we have something that they're going to bring to the table at E3, though they haven't absolutely said, we're going to be showing you gameplay from Kingdom Hearts 3, or we're going to be officially announcing all of the worlds. None of that, nothing like that has happened, but it's gonna happen. Next on the list for this is Death Stranding. We've been getting bits and pieces of Death Stranding since Kojima announced it 3 years ago? 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure. So my hope for Death Stranding is playable demo, so we can finally get some actual gameplay footage and not just the trailer footage that we've been getting for the last 2 years. So Death Stranding, Spider-Man for the PS4. We've been getting so much information, it wouldn't make sense for them to not have it at E3, just because only, as far as I know, only Game Informer has actually seen it in action. They went to the studios where they're making the game and played it a little bit. So we've been getting tiny little bits of information from them. The E3, it just totally makes sense that they're going to spill as many of the beans as they're going to before the launch of the game. Next is the Pokemon game for the Switch. We know it's in the works. They are actually working on a console Pokemon game, but we don't know what kind of Pokemon game it's going to be. If it's going to be like an actual RPG like we get on the Game Boy, or if it's going to be another Pokemon Snap from the N64. We don't know what it is, but it's a Pokemon project for the Switch, and again, Nintendo has been super tight-lipped about what this is going to be. And then Shenmue 3. Again, this is one that we got last year at E3. We actually have gotten this for the last 2 years at E3. They met their Kickstarter goal, or whatever crowdfunding website they went through. I'm pretty sure it was Kickstarter, though. They met their goal. The game is in the works, and it's going to be the final chapter of an epic series. So, again, it wouldn't make sense for them to not bring it to E3, but we haven't had any sort of confirmation. The last game, and this is one that we've talked about a number of times, I wear it on my head for every video, Mortal Kombat. Again, Ed Boon and NetherRealm and company have been super tight-lipped about this, but we're in the zone now of when they make their announcements. The last 3 games that they've announced have been within about a week of this time, this very moment, this, as you're watching it on the 5th, because I'm filming this earlier, but still, as you're watching this on the 5th, we're probably a week out from hearing about Mortal Kombat, and then we're likely to see some sort of trailer at E3. Or, potentially, they could be breaking the cycle slightly, and we are just going to get all of the launch, or all of the information at E3, and they're not going to preempt the convention. But I don't know. Those games make absolute sense for us to be seeing this year at E3. But that, guys, is all we have for video games until these announcements actually happen. We can't really go any further than just basic speculation. So as they happen, we will be talking about them right here on your Weekend Nerddom. But thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. What did I miss, man? I know because we went for so long without doing these videos, there's gotta be something I missed. So what did I miss? What should we talk about next week? Let me know in the comments down low. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website. GenerallyNerdy.net is the place you can do that. There's all the links to the stores. You can go get your Generally Nerdy swag. You can get links to all the social medias. Go see all of the documentation from the past two conventions, Dink and Starfest, the reasons we took the last 2 weeks off. You can go see all of that stuff on the social media. Or if you want to support the channel a little more directly, there is a Patreon page, patreon.com/generallynerdy. That is the place you can go to support the channel more directly. You do get more stuff if you support through Patreon as well. So go check it out, patreon.com/generallynerdy. If you're falling behind, though, on your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap one of those boxes right there to the left of my face to do that. But before we click things, before we visit websites, guys, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.